when it comes to teaching, one of the most important things that you can do is build relationships with your students. Seriously, your kids are not going to learn anything or behave well if they don't feel like you care about them. And one of the most important things about building relationships with students is actually knowing who they are, which can be kind of tough if you teach elementary music or art or PE or one of those things where you teach the whole school. So if you're one of those people and you're like, I have 500 kids, 600 kids, 700 kids, I've been there. And in this video, you're going to learn how to learn their names a little bit quicker. Now, it's not, you know, a magic cure all. I don't have any like magic formulas for you, but it is going to help you move in the right direction to make life a little bit easier. Now, before we get into it, I do want to mention, if you happen to be a new elementary music teacher, I have a free music teacher course for new teachers, and we are talking about all of the basic things that you need to know that first year that you maybe didn't learn in college. So things like what you're going to teach, when to teach it. We're going to talk about how to teach rhythm, how to teach melody. We're going to talk about classroom management and just all of the different things. So if you are an elementary music teacher, click the link down below to get a little bit of help with that. And whether you are or not, then let's get into the tips. All right, so number one, for how you're going to learn the kids' names, you're going to cheat. So what I mean by that is that you're going to make a seating chart. And then every time somebody needs to get something, you need to call on somebody, you're gonna look down at your seating chart and then you're gonna call that person's name. This is really and truly the biggest secret to making sure that you are learning those names, and also kind of a crutch for when you're not learning names. So just have a seating chart, have assigned seats. You should have assigned seats anyway, because frankly, if you let the kids pick, then they're all gonna sit next to their friends and then they're gonna run their mouths the whole time and it's just gonna be a hot mess. So assign the seats. I like to do it in alphabetical order, which also helps me to learn their names a little bit quicker, unless I know that certain people shouldn't be next to each other, and then I strategically place them. If you haven't met them yet, you'll figure it out very quickly. And then every single time I go to call in a student, instead of just being like you, I look down, see what their name is, and then call them by their name. So instead of just being like, yeah, you little girl in the front, I'll be like, London. The kids don't necessarily realize that you're looking at their names on the seating charts. They just think you're learning their names. So make sure you use that seating chart. It is powerful, I promise you. It also helps the kids to have a little more stability. They love coming in and being like, oh, that's my dot. Oh, that was my dot last year, because we sit on carpets on dots. And it is really helpful for both them and also for you. All right, tip number 2 is gonna be based off of that one, and that is use their names every single time. Again, we're not just saying like, oh, you over there. Anytime you need anything from anybody, call someone's name. Look at it and do it on purpose so that it helps you remember them. So call them by their name when you're asking questions. Call them by their names when you need help with something, when they're lining up, when they're sitting down, however they're doing, whatever they are doing, make sure you use their names as much as possible. The more you use them, the more you will get used to associating that name with that student, and it will be a lot easier, I promise. Even with little things, so like if students are doing a good job, I always make sure to point out so-and-so is doing a great job with their hands in their pockets in line, or so-and-so is doing an excellent job keeping the steady beat. So-and-so is doing an excellent job at tracking Miss Davis as we're working. And I do those all throughout the day, and part of it is because it reinforces the positive behavior, tells everybody else, hey, this is what I'm looking for. And it also helps me to remember their names, because it's another opportunity for me to use names. So use names when you're calling on questions, when you're asking kids something, when you are just moving around. And if you ever forget their names, you can ask. Like, I was in the hallway earlier and I saw a kid and I was like, hey, what's your name? And even if I know their name, like, it just helps me to like get that little, you know, little reinforcement there. All right, number 3 is gonna be name games. Now, I have a whole video about name games, so I will link that down below. But for today, I'll just go through a couple of my like absolute top favorites. So with the littles, kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, I like to do 2 different ones. I do a chant and I do a song. So the first one is just where you pat down and then up. For the older kids, not like kindergarten. Kindergarten just goes down and we say name, name. Say your name. And then one person says their name. So if it's my turn, I say, my name is Miss Davis. And then everyone says, her name is Miss Davis. And it's really helpful because you're learning their names. It's going around. The kids are learning each other's names because they might not know each other. And it's just really simple and really great. I've even done it with 3rd grade. I will say. My favorite singing one is Hickety Pickety. I've seen a couple of different, I've seen Hickety Pickety, Hickety Tickety, like all sorts of different versions, but this is the version I know. And it's just, hickety pickety bumblebee, will you sing your name for me? And then the students sing, my name is Miss Davis. And then again, if you want, you can have everyone sing, her name is Miss Davis. I will say I like having them echo it because it gives them something to do so they're not bored waiting for their turn. So those are my top ones for the littles. They're very simple. I love doing this at the beginning because we always talk about our 4 different voices. So we can use it to do talking voice, and then we talk about singing voice. And that's a really good reinforcer as well. For the older kids, my absolute positive favorite one is called Jump In, Jump Out. And so this one goes jump in, jump out, and turn yourself around. I said jump in, jump out, and introduce yourself. And whoever's in the front or in the middle of the circle, we usually do it the first time with the kid in the front and everyone at their seats, and then maybe the second time we'll do it in a circle. And whoever's in the front, whoever's it, is gonna tell us their name, something they like, and something they can do that we can all do. So if it's mine, I would say like, my name's Miss Davis, and everyone says, yeah. So it's like, my name's Miss Davis, yeah. And I like ice cream, yeah. And I can snap, yeah. And then everyone goes, all right, all right, all right. It's so much fun. I've used it with 3rd through 5th grade. I'm trying to save it more for 4th and 5th grade this year, but love it. It's so much fun. The kids love it, and they all get to take turns doing it. I don't make them take a turn if they don't want to take a turn on the first day, but it's a really great time. All right, my last tip, and I know these were quick. My last tip is to use your duty post. So if you are an elementary music teacher, you probably have a duty post, which means you have bus duty, or you have car rider duty, or you have walker duty, or you have whatever, but you're watching. Chances are, if you teach elementary music, you have a duty post, whether that is car rider duty or morning duty, afternoon duty, lunch duty, you have bus rider duty, whatever. Use those to your advantage. That is a great time to practice learning the kids' names. What I do is I have bus duty, so I'm in the front every morning and every afternoon, and my goal is to call every single student by their name. So when I see them in the morning, I say, good morning, London, good morning, Zamarian, like every single child with their name. Same thing in the afternoon. Now, do I always get all of them? No. Especially not at the beginning of the school year. But the goal is that by the end of the year, I can do that. So if you're new at a school, or if you have, you know, your new set of kiddos in kindergarten or 1st grade or whatever, then really make it a point to try to figure out their names. And obviously you're not gonna know all of them the first day, but if you had a kid today, maybe you can remember 1 or 2 kids from the classes you had today. And then tomorrow, maybe you can remember 1 or 2 more. And as time goes on, it's gonna get easier, and you'll remember more and more and more until you get to that point where you can know every single child by their name. I've even had other teachers in the school who are like, I don't know how you remember all these names. And I'm like, because I do this that you're seeing me do right now, is saying hello and goodbye to every single child using their name. It is a game changer, I promise you. It's a lot of work, but it makes a huge, huge difference. All right, friends, so that is all I have for how to learn names quickly. Those are kind of the 4 main things. I know some people like to take pictures of kids, and there's different apps you can use to help put names with faces. You could do a flashcard kind of thing. You can feel free to do that, of course. These are the 4 things that I do to help me learn names. And also remember that the longer you stay to school, the easier it gets, because you'll remember students' names, you'll know more of them. So I only have, 1 new set of kiddos when they come into 1st grade, and I already know pretty much everybody else for the most part. So it does get easier, I promise. Stick to these 4 things and you're gonna have a great year.